YouTube and welcome to day 30 of Rocktober. Today is the second last day of Rocktober, so I thought I'd do a bit of a more in-depth video for everybody because, in a way, there are parts of my life that nobody knows about. Like, for instance, I was bullied a lot as a kid basically, and I still am a little bit, but I have many bullying experiences, so I thought, why not just tell a few short stories here for everybody to do like the second last day of October. This is some of my worst bullying stories, but I will try to be kind of light-hearted because it's all in the past and honestly I don't think it would ever happen again, but here are some of my bullying stories. So, when I was in prep, which is, I think it's like the year before first grade, which is grade 1 in Australia, I remember my best friend in the world actually at the time, and she has been one of my best friends my whole life. We were at the pool because every year in primary school we learn how to swim, and I was awful at it, and you don't expect to be insulted when you're 5 or 6 years old, and I remember my best friend actually said, because we were running in the kiddie pool, and she said, "Oh, look, your boobies are jiggling," and I remember that impacting me so badly, and I think that's what I kind of associate with not liking swimming or anything, well, one of many things, but it was honestly so awful. Then I remember at probably about age 9, 10 or 11 maybe, it was another swimming class. I'll just start off with both of these, and I remember I ripped my rash vest because I refused to swim without it. I was not able to wear it because it ripped like right down the side, and I remember one of the girls talking about the instructor and how fat she was, all that stuff like that. And then I remember hearing her, because I don't think she saw me that I was there, I remember hearing her saying that Addison really needs to get a new rash vest because I don't want to see that disgusting side again. And that made me feel like shit, and I still hate that girl. Always will now. I remember another one of the big things in primary school. I was having a really crappy day, and I don't know why, but I think that's right, I was hanging out with one of my friends and we were playing with my first wrestling action figures, and this kid comes up and tries to steal it. He's much younger than me, but at the same time he had a serious anger issue, but I remember him coming up and just stealing one of the action figures, and just when I was trying to get it back, he smacked me right across the face for pretty much no reason, because I had rarely, if at all, talked to this kid, and he was just awful to me. So I remember in literally I think it was even the orientation or whatever it was, days of high school, I came from a very country town for high school, and I remember everyone else being quite judgmental of me straight away, but what really set them off the edge, we were meant to write these stories about the best days of our lives just to kind of get the ball rolling and help our English teachers see what we were good at, and I remember mine starting off with something like, "Oh my god, I'm going to short stack," because that honestly was one of the best days of my life when I went to short stack. But these boys were so awful, and they were like, "Oh my god, you like short stack? That is so good." And I remember feeling absolutely terrible after that, and yeah, I just felt very let down because this was, actually it might have been the first week of the actual year of school, but I remember being very disheartened and very, very upset. But I remember, this is another Year 7 story, and if you watched my video before this about coming out, my friend Megan witnessed this whole situation, and I remember being very upset by this whole thing. I was having a very bad day, but a teacher actually made it so much worse for me, because like I didn't want to do woodwork or metalwork or whatever class we were in. I just needed a day to cool off. I was even doing schoolwork, but what he kept doing for about 5 times is shutting my laptop on my, like while it was on my lap, and this was not okay in my mind, and like it's probably not okay because it was my laptop and it was my personal belonging, and he kept doing it, and that was one of the worst bullying experiences I can remember actually. Year 9 was probably one of the worst years of my life honestly, because I remember for some reason, like I hung out in the music room every day, which is not like the bad thing of this story, but I remember about 6 guys, like hetero, strong year bra guys, and they all kind of gathered outside the music room while I was in there, and we always locked it behind us, so like they weren't able to get to us, but they kept yelling out my name and calling me like all the words I hate. Like I'll say them for this case, but I don't like these words, just keep in mind. They called me a faggot, they called me a poofter, they told me to die, and like the only thing that got me away is I waited till like the bell, and they were away from the door for a second, and I sprinted off to class. But I remember the music teacher did not even really intervene, and like she should have noticed because she was just up the ramp, but I think she hated me anyway. But anyway, and I just remember that being one of the worst days of my life because I was so stressed. Even though it was last period, I went to my English class and I cried the whole time because it was awful. So another one of my, well, this isn't as hardcore bullying, but this is like something that I thought this person was my friend for a while there, but they're definitely not now. And he kept poking my stomach for some reason, and I didn't know why. We were in the locker bay, there was probably about 5 people all together there, 3 being my friends, and him and me, and maybe there was other people, but they obviously didn't notice or they would have said something. But he was poking my stomach and said, "It's like you're smuggling a pillow into school," and I felt absolutely horrible, and I honestly felt really upset for the rest of the day. This was like after school, so like there was no teachers or no time to get teachers involved, but that was honestly so That is it for this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, subscribe, and comment down below some of your experiences if you're comfortable, or like what you would do if any of these happened. Try not to get violent because that wouldn't have happened for me for most of these years. But yeah, I shall see you guys tomorrow for the last day of Rocktober and one big announcement. I shall see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye.